All I gotta say is we should have been listening to black women, because Octavia E. Butler warned us about all of this in her books, Parable of the Sower and Parable of the Talents. Stay tuned for my review. Hey y'all, welcome back to another Books with Kimberly review and discussion. Thank you all who have been supporting my videos. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share my videos, y'all. And please, again, don't be afraid to get in those comments and talk with me and let me know what you think about these reviews and the books that I am discussing. Octavia E. Butler, y'all, she did it again. She's just so amazing, and it saddens me that she passed away. We can't enjoy more of her writing and more of this kind of science fiction and fantasy. Like, this is what I need more of. So Parable of the Sower is the first book of it was going to be a trilogy, but because she passed away, only 2 of them were published. So we have Parable of the Sower, Parable of the Talents. Parable of the Sower starts off with a young Lauren Alamina, I think that's how to pronounce her name. She is in her teens, 14 to 16 years old, and she starts off in this book describing her life in Southern California. She is the daughter of a pastor, and she lives with her stepmother, as well as she has 3 younger siblings. And they live in this walled community because the years are in the 2030s and everything has went to HELL. They call it the POX, the apocalypse, and it's a combination of financial hardships, global warming, climate change, all that, which equals up to people living in poverty. There's a great divide of people who are very much in poverty getting by, and then there's the people who have the money and who are walled off in communities away from the society. But the people who still live in their regular communities, they have to be walled off because there is people who are on the streets. Like, if you walk down the streets of Southern California in this time, you will see people who are eating out of trash cans. There were people who are eating dead people, like people killing people just so they can take their clothes, their food, whatever they have, because these people don't have anything. And so Lauren and her family, they stick to this community. They stay within the walls. They only go out on Saturday mornings so that the teenagers can practice shooting guns. They need these guns to protect themselves because the police is not protecting them. So it's up to them to guard their communities and to practice safety and securing their neighborhood. Church is held in Lauren's house. School is held in Lauren's house. They teach all the little kids. This community that Lauren and her family live in, it gets attacked by these people who spray paint their faces, and they go destroy these communities, burn them up, kill everybody, so that the poor people who live on the streets can come in, pillage through the ashes, and get the vegetables left in their gardens, get their clothes. So this happens to Lauren's community, and Lauren is forced on the outside, and they must travel. And so it is about her and the survivors of her community traveling this long highway so that they could get to a place of safety, find a new home. And on the way, she is teaching Earthseed, and Earthseed is what she created. A little bit about Earthseed is that God is changed. That is what the basis of it is. And she also talks about how God can be shaped. And each chapter starts off with the little passage from her Earthseed passages. And it's very interesting to read because I am a Christian. So, of course, the God that she frowns upon, I still serve him. But still, I thought it was very interesting that she came up with this as a teenager. She looked at her dad's Christianity as waiting for God to save them, and she wanted to create something where they saved themselves. So one of the things that really stood out to me in Parable of the Sower was the fact that they were living this quarantine life, and that's what we're doing right now. That's why I'm like, Octavia E. Butler is a genius. School is in the home. Everything they did was within this community. Only went out to do shooting practice. The dad would go out once a week to teach at a college. That was his job. But other than that, they were to stay inside because of the dangers of the people on the outside. Another thing that this book really brought home to me was this idea of the police aren't any help. So it is up to the communities within these walls to really protect and help each other out. And in today, in our society, you know, Black Lives Matter has been talking about abolishing the police because of all of the police brutality going on, the killings of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd and so many others at the hands of policemen, that Black people and people all over the world are saying, you know, we need to just abolish the police altogether. We need to defund the police. And it's so crazy because I had a conversation with my mom about, what do you think this would look like? And we talked about how our communities would really need to bond together. Our communities would really need to support each other in a way that they currently don't. And this is what this book does. This book talks about the people in these walls. They look out for each other, and they aren't just Black families. They take turns guarding the walls to make sure that people don't come over and try to kill them during the night. You know, when people do come and steal, they have a bell that they ring, and all the men get their guns. They come out and they protect each other and their families and their home. It's just interesting because I was trying to imagine a community where we could rely on ourselves, and what would a community look like if everybody looked out for one another. So Octavia E. Butler gave me a glimpse of that in a book that she wrote years ago. I'll have to insert what year it was, but she gave me that picture, and I appreciate this book for that, and it will definitely be one of my favorite books. So let's go on to Parable of the Talents. So Parable of the Talents is told from the perspective of Lauren. Again, it's her journals, and there's also another character, Ben Cole, who is the partner of Lauren, some of his journal entries as well. And then we have the daughter. So Lauren ends up having a child, and her grown daughter is telling the story, giving her perspective on the journal entries that she has discovered of her mom's. So we know in the first book from my description that the community in Southern California was destroyed. So her and some survivors, they went on a journey. They ended up going to a property of someone in their group, Ben Coley, I think that's how you pronounce his name. And so they decided to live on his property. They built cabins, they started to farm, and they really grew Earthseed. Earthseed became their whole life, and it was the center of the community. And this is what she wanted. Her dream and vision for Earthseed was to let it take over the world. And she wanted everyone to learn about Earthseed, and the goal of the people of Earthseed was to live amongst the stars. And it's very interesting how literal she takes this in this book. I won't spoil too much. The Parable of the Talents, the year is around 2033. Lauren is like in her 20s now. And so Earthseed is strong, is surviving. They're getting more people. They're building up their community, building up the religion. And during this time, there is a new president who is elected, President Jared. I can't remember his last name, but it's President Jared. And y'all, President Jared has a slogan. His slogan for his campaign is "Make America Great Again." Like, do I need to keep on describing to you how much of a genius, a prophet this woman is, Octavia E. Butler? His slogan was "Make America Great Again." And if you think it just stops there, like, oh, that's just a slogan, y'all, this man, his goal was to take America back to its Christian values. Does that sound familiar? It should sound very familiar to all of you if you are paying attention to everything, and make sure you all vote. He's the founder of this church called the Church of Christian America, and what they want to do is reform people who they deem as heathens. So when they find out about Earthseed, they come in and attack Earthseed. It was very triggering to read this because what they did to people who they did not deem as Christians was the exact opposite of what a Christian should be doing. There were these crusaders. They wore big crosses around them chests. They were all black and had hoods, and very similar to the KKK. These crusaders were the result of Jared being president. My emotions were on a roller coaster because this book started off kind of slow as well too, giving me the day-to-day of this new society that she built of Acorn, this new society of Earthseed. So it was kind of going day by day and introducing a lot of the new people who had joined the community. I admit I'd be a little impatient when I be reading books. I'd be ready for the drama and all HELL to break loose, and child, did it break loose. It broke all the way loose. Like, these crusaders, they came in to Acorn and just really treated these people horribly. Women were raped, children were taken away from their families, and they were trying to beat the Bible into these people. It was really heartbreaking to read because these people were just trying to survive in an already hard time, and here y'all come, like, doing something that's not of God at all under the pretense that it is of God. This book was really, really good. These books, they both were 5-star reads. I just really enjoyed these books, and I know I recommend that y'all read all the books that I read, but I definitely recommend these because I want y'all to get back to me and let me know what you think. And it's crazy because probably if I had read this book in 2019, or let's say before Trump even became president, I would have never believed America could look like it did there. Maybe I would, just because anything can happen, but a lot of this stuff would have been like, oh, okay, that happened. But to be where I am now and to read these books and to be like, wow, this is what is going on right now. It was just an amazing read. This is why I love reading so much, just to deep dive into this and to have a reflection of what is going on, to know where our country could go, but what people are going to continue to fight by using our voices, using the power of our vote so that it cannot get to where it could be. And thank you all for watching my review.